everyone, it's Mary with Studio 2.8 TV. In this video, I am going to show you how to apply a selective color technique using Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop CS6, but you can use just about any version of Photoshop, even one of the older ones, and definitely Photoshop Elements. Before I start, I do want to tell you that there's probably a half a dozen different ways to do this technique, and I'm going to show you the way that I like the best. So here we have a beautiful image of some fall leaves. What I'd like to do is convert this to black and white and paint the color back into this leaf right here in the center. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the background layer and I'm going to drag it down to create a background layer copy. With that highlighted, I'm going to convert it to black and white by going to Image, Adjustments, and Desaturated. Now that looks a little dark and muddy and flat to me, so I'm going to adjust that slightly by going to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast. And I'm going to increase the brightness just a tad and the contrast just a little bit. There we go. Alrighty, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this leaf so that I can paint the color back in. Now there's a number of different selection tools that you can use. I use the magnetic lasso tool because that's the one that I like the best, and that can be found over on your layers tool, or your tools palette, and that is going to be the third one down. If you click on that, you'll see there's the lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool. So that's the one I'm going to select. To get started, you just click on an edge of your subject, and then you just keep making clicks as you go along. You always want to make sure that you click when you make a turn. And because there is a lot of contrast between the subject and the background, this is going pretty quickly. Okay, we've got I'm going to make another turn there. And here we're going to make another turn. So we're about halfway there. Once you get used to this, it really doesn't take that long. Oh, this is an easy one to do. Getting there, we're almost at the end. The end is the tricky part because what you want to do is you'll need to finish where you started. So I'm going to click right on the little square where I started, and then I get what we call marching ants. Now the next thing I'm going to do you see how this leaf right here has intersected over the leaf that I want to put the color back in? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the selection right here. So I'm going to go up to these icons right here. The third one over, if you click on it, says subtract from selection. So I'm going to subtract. I'm going to go over and select that. Now it has been subtracted from the selection. Next, I'm going to go to Select and Modify, and I'm going to feather the selection. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I don't want it to be the selection to look too sharp. So I'm going to feather it at about 2 pixels and click OK. All right, now I'm ready to paint the color back in. So the way that I do this is I go to the eraser tool, which is over on the left side, and there's 3 types of eraser tools. I'm going to select the first one. And then I'm going to make sure that I have a large size brush, and I'm going to make sure that it is a soft brush, which it is. And then I'm going to start to paint the color back in. And because I have made a selection, if I go outside the boundaries of the leaf, I don't change the color of the background there, just the leaf. And I'm going to go over it a couple times, really bring that color back in. And that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to press Control D to remove the selection. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this image because I usually don't like my subject to be so smack dab in the center. So I'm going to choose the crop tool over here on the left side, and I'm going to grab one of the corners here and start moving it around. You can see that my crop tool, it divides the image up into 9 parts. It's almost like a tic-tac-toe board over your image. And typically what you want to do is you want to place your image in one of these intersections right here so that it's not centered. So let's see how it looks in the upper. That looks pretty good. Over here, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm liking it over here. All right, that looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to accept the crop. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image, but I'm going to save it in a different name. That way I have the original intact. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and it's already numbered image 23, so I'm just going to add SC for selective color, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG file. And there you have it. And that is how you apply the selective color technique in Photoshop. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you back here for the next video.